everybody, and welcome to your very first round of month ahead forecasts on my channel. I'm so excited to start something new. I'm at a new place. This is like a new filming studio, if you will, and I can't wait to kind of change up my offerings a little bit. And before we begin, I do want to tell you a little bit about that. First and foremost, my name is Yelena Crawford, so welcome back to anyone and everyone that was a previous subscriber. Thank you guys so much. And for anybody that hasn't met me yet, welcome. I'm very happy to have you here. And this is kind of what my channel is going to look like moving forward. So if you were not a previous subscriber, you don't need to worry about what it used to be, but I kind of have a little bit of a new content strategy. So I'm going to be getting rid of my weekly forecast completely, and I'm going to start the month couple days prior to each new month. I'm going to push out forecast videos, which are month ahead forecasts, which is what this is, for all 12 zodiac signs. So you guys can know ahead of time exactly what's happening. And if you weren't already aware, I do offer a written monthly forecast as well. And it's general. It's not by zodiac sign. It's basically all about the collective and the energies that are happening in the month ahead, which can really help you to have that written paper, right? So if you are interested in signing up for my free written cosmic guide, is what I call it, you can go to my website, yelenacrawford.com, and a little pop-up box will come up on the screen where you can enter your email address. But I promise not to spam. I don't really send a whole lot. I maybe inform you guys of new videos or any new offerings I might have or whatever, but that's pretty much it. And then on top of these monthly forecasts, what I plan to do is obviously full and new moon videos, you know, and horoscopes for those as they come along. But also I want to start breaking down significant transits throughout the month. So as the energies are kind of coming in and passing, I want to really dive in and hone in and talk about those as they come along, so we can kind of follow the transits together. So I want to make this really interactive. I may end up doing a lot of lives for some of these things too, but I will definitely make sure to let you guys know ahead of time. And then another one of my offerings is on Instagram, and I've been really kind of amping that up, and I've been doing daily astrology updates. So if you guys really want to follow the astrology on a daily basis as you learn and as it helps you with your own life, then I would highly suggest adding me over at Yelena Crawford Astrology on Instagram as well. I'm going to have stories and daily posts so you guys can keep up to date with the astrology in many different ways. Also, this is a general forecast, and I want to make that very clear that yes, I'm breaking this down by your rising sign. So that kind of sets up the chart, and I'm able to kind of see some of the in and out energies and the different themes that might be brought into focus for you over the next month. But your individual birth chart is what gets activated by these transiting energies. And our birth charts are all completely different. So while this might be hitting somebody and really bringing out positive potential with some of these transits, it could also be really exacerbating a negative portion of someone else's chart. So just keep that in mind. And if you are someone who is maybe navigating big changes and you want to make more sense of it, then contact me for a personal reading. I would highly suggest getting a reading with me or whatever astrologer you deeply resonate with. You can also do that through my website, yelenacrawford.com. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all the announcements for right now. So let's get into the forecast. Hi Capricorn, and welcome to your April 2022 monthly horoscope. I am very excited about diving into your astrology for the month ahead. I'm not gonna lie, it's an interesting month. We've got all planets direct until about the second to last day of the month, which means things are ultimately moving forward, especially at the beginning of the month, whether we like them or not. It's Aries season, which means it's cardinal energy. It's all about the pivot, when things shift and change, when we might initiate certain changes. So that energy is highly alive right now. You want to make sure that you temper any impatience with this energy as well, but we're going to see a lot changing. Hopefully there'll be an opportunity for maybe the grounding of some of these changes come the end of the month, although it is eclipse season that's going to be ending this month as well. We are moving into eclipse season, which is also very indicative of big beginnings and big endings that are coming in some of our lives. Not all eclipse seasons are created equal with every single person because they will be hitting everybody's charts differently. But it's important that we stay informed just in case one of those people are you. So first and foremost, Capricorn, starting the month on April 1st, you have a new moon in the sign of Aries, which is actually in your 4th house. So a new moon, as you may or may not be aware of, is when the sun and the moon come together in the sky, and this starts a fresh lunar cycle for the month ahead. It also coincides with a 6-month lunar cycle, because each new moon, whatever sign that falls in, coincides with a full moon 6 months later in the same sign. So for you, this is going to take us into the fall, when maybe what you're seeding right now, what you're starting, what you're being pulled towards, maybe any opportunity that's opening up for you, or this renewal of energy somehow comes to fruition or closes out in some way and completes in the fall. So for you, this is happening in the area of home, family, property, place of living, people that you live with. This could also have to do with ancestry, and maybe any woundings or anything that are related to your upbringing and your parents, because this new moon is happening with Chiron, the wounded healer, which has been moving through this area of your chart since 2018. So it can bring up an awkwardness and an insecurity from time to time when activated. It can make you feel like you're different than your family, make you feel like an outsider. That can bring up a lot of insecurity and challenges, right? So this, I mean, I don't ultimately see this being like a really malefic or terrible thing per se, but just keep in mind that there could be some dynamics that come up regarding some of those different indicators and keywords that I was using. This could be a brand new beginning where maybe you are starting to put some plans in place to move to a new location. Maybe you are very literally buying a home, because Mars, the ruler of this new moon, is in the 2nd house of possessions, money, and finances. So this is kind of highlighting that axis of things that you purchase, your money situation, and everything like that. But ultimately, there could be some challenges related to those topics as well. It could bring up some things regarding money or business ventures that you're doing with family members, or home renovations, or maybe somebody's moving in with you. You know, there's a lot of different ways that this could play out. Maybe some of you are getting a pet, very literally, because Mercury is also involved with this too. And Mercury rules over the 6th house of animals. Maybe some of you are starting a new work from home venture of some sort, where you're doing something, you know, unconventional, maybe outside of the box or something like that, a little bit different. And it's kind of daunting or feels a little weird in some way. This new moon for some of you, it's happening at the degrees where the sun and the moon are is 11:11. So I like to think this is a very fated dynamic that's taking place. Very interesting. It could be very healing if we allow it to be. So for some of you, maybe you're turning over a new leaf in terms of some of your connections to previous traumas or emotional ties to family dynamics that have happened in the past. And you could be really trying to work through or have a breakthrough moment of some sort and receive some healing, or feel like you've completed a level of healing with those dynamics as well. So it's always interesting here to kind of take note of that. We could have some significant things going on with the parents that are starting during this time. So yeah, keep an eye out for it. But ultimately, like I said, if you're around, if your ascendant is around the degrees of 5, I'm going to say 5 to 16 or 15 degrees of Capricorn, this full moon will actually be squaring your ascendant. So it could bring up a little bit of a stressful dynamic that puts some tension on you and you between you and family matters, or you and matters of the home, or you and your roots in some way, okay, that are somehow tied in with maybe money and work, or money and health. So just something to keep in mind. I won't go into that any further, but so we know that Mars is the ruler of this new moon. And as we move forward into the month, April 4th, Mars, which is the planet sometimes of conflict and strife and dispute, of agitation and aggression, and can be a little bit more of a challenging force. Mars is the gas pedal, and it's moving into a conjunction with Saturn, which is the brake, which is Mars is the car that's charging forward, and Saturn is the boulder that it runs into. So we've got this go and stop kind of energy, right? Where maybe we come up against a wall or a hurdle, but ultimately around this time, the first week of April, we are probably going to experience some complications. Specifically for you, Capricorn, this is happening in your second house of money and finances, your resources, your possessions, your relationship with money that could somehow be involved with your goals and ideals for the future, or maybe even have a tie to groups of people and friends in some way. So ultimately, there could be something that needs to be worked through at this time. A little bit of a hurdle, a little bit of a roadblock that makes you feel limited from moving forward or restricted in some way. And you are having to stop, work through something. And that can be a little bit agitating, right? Just know that this is passing energy and it's not going to last the entire month. Ultimately, these challenging energies sometimes are what help us break through. And this energy is actually square the nodes of fate. It's creating a T-square. So with a T-square, it is intense pressure placed upon one planet or two planets, which happen to be in the money house. So there's a lot of financial stuff that's kind of coming up for you, I would assume, right now. And the North and South node are squaring it, which are transiting your 5th and 11th house of goals, friends, and groups that you're involved with, as well as fun and play and children. So somehow there is a stressful dynamic tied to maybe some of those topics that needs to be shifted or changed or worked through that will ultimately make you come face to face with what you're bound by in this life, what is limiting or restricting you, and how you can break through that barrier to make progress towards what it is you're trying to achieve in life, to ultimately bring yourself more joy and more pleasure and operate from a place, operate from the heart, be able to enjoy life a little bit more, right? So that is one thing to keep aware of. But that is passing energy. And what's happening that's very strange during this time, which I do like, is that we have some really nice energy that's going to be taking place at the same time. So on April 5th, we have Venus, the planet of love, finances, abundance, our connections with other people, our personal magnetism and ability to draw things in with no effort. It's a very receptive energy where we kind of just sit back and things flow. We have great interactions with other people when it's in a good position, that is. Venus is going to be on April 5th moving into your 3rd house, which is the house of information, correspondence, communication, learning, and education, and short trips. This is also the house that rules over siblings and relatives. So this could bring a lot of positive connections. It could give you an opportunity to maybe go on a short trip where you're able to kind of find your joy and get away from the burdens and responsibilities that are tied to your finances and some of the more serious things that you have going on right now. For some of you, this very literally could be like the purchasing of a vehicle or something like that, because the 3rd house rules over transportation. Maybe you have to purchase electronics or software, or maybe you're deciding to take a course. You could find a teacher and have an instant, immediate, like spiritual connection. Maybe you're doing creative work online or something like that, and things are just flowing and opportunities are opening up. I think that this could really be positive energy for your everyday connections and communications with other people, even siblings, relatives, people in your local environment, maybe like a sisterhood energy in the community, or maybe amongst students learning in an environment with a teacher or something like that. Healing communities, celebration of some sort could definitely, ceremony maybe could come into this in some way, shape, or form. So that's the way that I see Venus kind of playing out here. And Venus also rules your 5th house of joy. So this could be really positive, but it's also the house of entrepreneurism. Or entrepreneurship, I'm making up my own words. Entrepreneurship, as well as your creative talents, what brings you joy, romance, fun. So there could be a lot of really nice flowy energy here that's really supporting, bringing out this side of you that really has maybe not come out in a very long time. You've had Pluto transiting your 1st house, really transforming the person that you are since 2008, which can ultimately be kind of a challenging process as you move through that. I'm sure, you know, for most of you, that is very challenging to have Pluto transiting your first house. So then on April 12th, we have the conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune that is highly anticipated at 23 degrees. This is going to be making nice aspect to your ascendant in your first house, especially for those of you who have an ascendant between about 18 to 27, 28 degrees of Capricorn. This is really beautiful energy if you're willing to work with it. If you engage with the energy, this could be very much a spiritual expansion in your mind, opening up to concepts that you would have never considered before, understanding things, maybe even wondering how the heck you even understood them, spiritual concepts, maybe connecting with a teacher that has very strong spiritual wisdom of some sort that really opens you up. It's like the most beautiful, harmonious, empathetic, compassionate connections on an everyday basis with other people. This is the sharing of information, communication. So your conversations with people could just be truly magical, and you could literally gain a lot of wisdom through these connections with other people. I would also say the dissolving, because Neptune has a dissolving effect, and Jupiter just expands upon that. The dissolving of mental barriers, mental blockages, or ways of looking at things, ways of thinking that maybe were keeping you stuck in some way, that could really help to open you up to concepts and learning and sharing of information with other people. So I think with Pisces energy, Pisces are so creative, they're so talented, but sometimes they don't believe in their own selves. And that's what prevents them from sharing their gifts with other people. So I think this energy, especially related to the third house, which is the mind, it could be working with you on a very powerful level. And if you are willing to work with it and push through those barriers, this could really influence the person that you are and help you step into this new version of you that could really inspire, heal, and help a lot of people. This could also help push through mental patterns related to addictive tendencies or victimhood, feeling like a victim, and feeling more empowered. Think the statement, life is happening for me, not to me. Right? And that one statement could totally blast your mind open, be like, oh my God, that's literally how I've been living this entire time. Like, how is that even possible? You know what I mean? So just things like that. I think of overall with this energy around this time, you're going to just be feeling super creative. If any of you do anything with social media or creative talents, or you have hobbies or gifts that you share with aesthetics and art or anything like that, or food, this could be a time period where opportunities open up. Maybe you're doing something online, maybe you have a creative project that's starting to launch, and it could be something that you've always dreamed of, right? This could be amazing time for that. Ultimately, the sharing of wisdom, insights could be prominent. You could be the one doing that and helping other people. Also, maybe an ease or a flow with planning and scheduling and all of those types of things. Then as the month hits the midpoint on April 16th, we have a full moon in the sign of Libra. Now, this is a little bit more challenging of a dynamic, I won't lie, as the month progresses. We have, like I said, a mixed bag of energy, which is nice though, because we've got a lot of challenging dynamics, but we also have a flow of energy that's keeping us optimistic, that's keeping us moving forward and positive and still dreaming and idealizing what it is for our future, what we want for our future, regardless of what our current circumstances look like. And that's nice because there could just be challenging energy, which is really hard to navigate. So for you, this full moon is going to be illuminating and bringing a little bit of an emotional intensity to your 10th house of career, public sector, what you do out in the world, how people see you, and your relationship with people who are in positions of power and authority, right? So for you, this is Libra. This has a lot to do with relationships in general. Oh man, so what's happening with this full moon is it's making a T-square over to dynamic, powerful Pluto. So there could be maybe a situation in the workplace or what you're doing out in the world where you are seen as maybe enforcing your power too much over people. Maybe you are in a position of authority in some way and you are somehow having an unhealthy power dynamic with an authority figure, a boss. This could be a challenging dynamic within the workplace, which could bring intensity to you. You could feel very overwhelmed. This could be maybe a secret that it comes to the surface, or something that you find out that's uncovered about a boss or a workplace or something like that. Or it literally could be the fact that there's something coming to fruition regarding your career and what you're doing out in the world. Or it could be, for some of you, literally leaving your career behind and retiring or something like that, or switching jobs. And this somehow clashes with who you are, standing in your sense of personal power, and it's transforming you on such a very deep level that it's almost hard to keep up with. You feel like you have a lot of pressure on you, and it can just feel overwhelming in some way, shape, or form. So ultimately, just work with the energy. It's okay. Just know that Pluto is like Pluto's a transformer, but usually with all of these transformations, no matter how ugly, how cathartic, or how difficult it is to move through, it usually always ends in regeneration and a rebirth of some sort. So sometimes there are growing pains that are associated with this, and just know that this is something that you are definitely moving through at this time. Then as we progress, we hit Taurus season on April 19th. Taurus season highlights your 5th house. So you have the sun that's moving out of your home and family sector, place of living, ancestry, all of those types of things, the people that you live with, your parents, and it's moving into the house of children. So I don't know if maybe for some of you, that might be of interest with the North Node and Uranus in this house. That could be an unexpected and sudden development that maybe this next eclipse cycle brings in. And we're going to talk about the upcoming eclipse at the end of the month as the video progresses, but I want you to be aware that this eclipse cycle is really asking you to expand in the area of children, in the area of expressing your inner child, opening up to more fun and play. You're kind of using your gifts out in the world to really shine and inspire other people, to stand in your power and light. And it could even be bringing in a lot more romance and sex and love and fun. So this is great. This is not a hard axis necessarily per se to have eclipses on, but we do, we'll talk about that a little bit more. But anyways, this is kind of where the light is being shined right now as the sun moves through that sector. And this is really nice for you guys because as the month progresses, depending on what degree your ascendant sign is at, this energy is going to be trining your, as well as the eclipses, is going to be trining your ascendant, which is very supportive energy where things are flowing, opportunities are opening up for you to kind of step into a new version of yourself, approach the world a little bit differently, maybe transform your appearance. And yeah, I like this energy for you. So after that Pluto transit, this literally may be a cycle which lasts from now to 2023, the summer of 2023, when you are literally feeling like you're emerging from the chrysalis or you're being reborn in some way. After a difficult time period of feeling like you've been in the cocoon, right? Okay, so then on April 26th, this is not a very serious dynamic yet, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but it's going to become more prominent in May, specifically on May 10th through June 3rd. We have a Mercury retrograde coming up. Now, on April 26th, Mercury is going to be entering what's called its retrograde pre-shadow zone. So this is going to set up maybe some circumstances, situations, you might be thinking things, ruminating, starting to get an idea of what you might be working through during this Mercury retrograde period. So that's why I want to bring it to your attention, because what might be setting itself up for you starting at the end of the month, April 26th through May 10th, may become more prominent during the retrograde period next month. So I want you to be very aware of it. For you specifically, this retrograde is going to be affecting you in your 5th and 6th house. Again, 5th house topics are children, play, fun, expansion of those types of energies, as well as your creative talents, entrepreneurship. And I think of this energy as definitely shining in your own light individually, your individual self-expression, versus the 11th house, which is more so your involvement in groups and organizations and everything like that. So this is more of an individualized expression of that kind of energy. It's also going to highlight your daily routines, nutrition, health, exercise, what you do on a daily basis, your work environment, your coworkers. So somehow these topics are going to be more important during this upcoming retrograde period. So just keep an eye out for that starting on April 26th. Rounding out the end of the month, April 29th, Pluto stations retrograde. This is in your first house. So ultimately for you, this is very important because this affects you on a very personal level, especially for those of you that have your ascendant between 26 and 28 degrees of Capricorn. This is going to be very, very personal for you because Pluto, it retrogrades once every year for half the year. And it works with us on a very internal level. Sometimes it can be a little subtle, unless of course it's on your ascendant or descendant or your midheaven or something like that, then it becomes a little bit more loud because it's an urgency to transform. It's an urgency to purge and release what is not in alignment with your truth and who you deeply are deep down at your core. It wants you to release all of those things so that you can truly be this new person that you're meant to be. So this is huge. You guys could really be building for your future. You're Capricorn. Capricorns are very ambitious. This could be your relationship with your ambition. This could be your relationship with your career and what it is that you're setting out to do in the world, and your relationship to power and authority and hierarchy and leadership. So all of these things could definitely be coming to the forefront. Now, like I said, more prominent for somebody between 26 and 28 degrees. This retrograde is going to last from April 29th all the way till October. So like I said, keep an eye out for that. It might be subtle for some of you, but some of you may honestly really notice it, and the shift could begin on the 29th. Then we've got eclipse season that ends the month. So we'll be feeling this give or take a week before or after April 30th, which is the day of the actual eclipse itself. For you guys, I really like this eclipse. It's trining your ascendant. This is amazing. It's fully supportive energy for you, bringing joy. For some of you, literally, maybe having a child or like that sudden, there could be literally people suddenly and unexpectedly getting pregnant because it's with Uranus, and Uranus brings sudden breakthroughs. Unexpected events that happen, unexpected disruptions. And with this really harmonious energy of trines and sextiles that this eclipse is making, ultimately Uranus has to behave a little bit more. So sometimes that helps us to break free, helps to liberate us in some way. So you could literally be feeling liberated from shackles that you may have been in with this Pluto transiting your first house. And you could be feeling like you're actually able to live your life again. You actually can go out and have fun, experience joy, have romance. And what's so cool about this is really supportive energy, like I said, of short trips. Like this could be really great travel energy for some of you. For some of you, like getting away, going on a retreat, or maybe just having the time to rest, relax, because it's making a really nice aspect to the ruler of the eclipse, Venus, which is conjunct Jupiter in the third house. So maybe some unexpected message comes in from someone. You're having really harmonious communications. Maybe you get to take a course which changes your whole life and brings you so much joy, or you're actually teaching and sharing knowledge and information with other people. You're interacting in small groups. But Jupiter also rules your 12th house, which is hospitals. Maybe some of you are in a hospital setting, ashram. Maybe you get to go on a retreat, go enjoy yourself away, take a long vacation somewhere, or it's just literally the house of rest. Maybe you finally feel like you can chill out, and that can be such a joyful energy when you've been probably grinding and Pluto's been in your first house and kind of giving you mayhem for a really long time. Well, Pluto moves out of your first house next year, my friends, and yeah, you will literally be a completely different person. And I'm sure you are if you look back to 2008 and see all the changes that have been made. But ultimately, this eclipse is really nice. Eclipses, they run in seasons, okay? So yes, because Uranus is involved, whatever this is, it could be set into motion immediately, right on April 30th, or give or take, like I said, a week before or after. But ultimately, this is a storyline that plays out over the course of a 6-month time period. And since this is also opposing the axis of friendship and groups and goals, you could be really realigning your values, what you want in life, what makes you super happy. You could be bringing in friends at some point. You could be saying goodbye to friends. There's a lot that could be going on with this, and we'll talk more about that in May when we have an eclipse on that side of the axis too. But ultimately, I hope that this information was helpful for you and that you like this new format. If you did enjoy it, please don't forget to tap the like button below. It really does help the channel. You have no idea. It's just a 1-second click if you liked it and you benefited for all the hard work that was put in for this. And then also leave a comment. Let me know what you think about if this resonates or if you have any comments on it. I love to hear from you guys. It's really rewarding after a lot of hard work was put in. I hope you benefited, and keep your eye out as well, because we are going to be, I have a new format, like I said at the beginning, and we're going to be breaking down the transits as the month progresses, which is very helpful trying to follow this energy and watching it unfold in your life. Thank you guys so very much. Have a happy April. Best of luck to you. Peace and namaste.